Hello, this is Shelley from Heartland Realty in DeSoto, Missouri. For those of you tuning in for the first time, I am an agent and I do a few YouTube videos mainly geared towards people that are buying and selling houses. This particular topic is going to be a little off of that beaten path. I'd really, and honestly, what I do is just really talk about what's on my mind concerning real estate. So, if you're tuning in, it just kind of depends. If you have even suggestions and you want to put those on the YouTube comments, and I'll try to get to those subjects at some point. That's something I would love to do. And just for you to kind of reiterate, I am in DeSoto, Missouri, which is a rural area about 45 minutes south of St. Louis. So, most of what I talk about obviously pertains to this area, but could be used for real estate, around the United States, and, hopefully be helpful to anyone. So today I kind of I talk about what's on my mind, like I said. And one of the things that I want to talk about today is how many, and I think every real estate agent out there can really relate to this topic, that how many times have we maybe sat at a closing table or had friends that are like, hey, I'm thinking about getting my real estate license. And, of course, I don't want to discourage anyone from ever getting a real estate license. I love what I do. And I think that, any real estate agent that loves being in real estate, that really shows. People around you, feel that momentum, and then they maybe want to be a part of it. And if that's what you want to do and you feel that momentum, then absolutely you should be an agent. But I also feel like there's a group there's a lot of misconception when we're sitting in a closing table, especially with the seller, looking at the amount of money that is going out, and you're thinking, they didn't hardly even do anything, and I could do this myself. And, how hard is it to be a real estate agent? And I just kind of want to talk about that just a little bit, because again, if you want to be a real estate agent, you should absolutely do that. But it's not as easy as you may think. Kudos to your agent if they've made it look easy, because that means that they're doing a really good job. So, and also keep in mind the money on the settlement statement is not directly going to your agent. That can funnel out in a lot of different ways. And that's kind of a subject that we have addressed previously about, how the commission structure really works. But, if you're thinking to yourself, oh, I could, how hard could it be? I could save myself thousands of dollars and, become a real estate agent. And, with the market being as good as it has been, up until, right now we're kind of in a little bit of a change in the market. But the last couple of years, real estate's obviously been pretty hot and houses have been selling really quickly. So I think that the general public has a misconception that every real estate agent is just making money hand over fist, and we're really just not doing anything but writing a few contracts and going to the closing table. And nothing could be farther from the truth. So I just kind of wanted to talk about that. Again, I think if you're getting into any job, and again, this is more the mother in me than the real estate agent, never should you enter any profession thinking it's going to be easy, because anything that is profitable is not going to be easy. I mean, it's just, life just doesn't work that way. There's no such thing as easy money, I don't think. You're always going to have to work very hard to be good at what you do and to be successful, no matter what your career choice is. But one of the things I think that, people do sometimes appeals to them about real estate is they believe that you're going to have extremely flexible hours. Or you might say, I love watching all those, TV shows about HGTV and do it yourself. And I love staging houses and I love looking at houses. And that's great. That's obviously a small portion of what we do as real estate agents, depending on where you live. But like any TV show, they're only really giving you the highlights. For myself, working in a rural area, I can tell you that I'm not looking at a lot of, multi-million-dollar mansions here. So, you have to kind of be realistic about, the area that you're working. And I can tell you that staging houses is obviously, I don't actually stage houses. I think there might be some real estate agents that do that, but not a whole lot. Usually you hire a staging company to do that. So as an agent, I can, obviously walk into a house and tell you things that you maybe could do and give you some pointers about how the house would show better and some things that you might do. But I'm not actually staging a house. So if that's the part of the business that you're interested in, you probably want to be a stager and not a real estate agent. So kind of just think about what it is that is drawing you to be a real estate agent. Because a very small portion of our jobs is really looking at houses, and having, a lot to say about, the staging process and what's going to be done. So a lot of that just depends on the people's means and a lot of other variations. So, you also have to also keep in mind that there's so many things that a real estate agent has to be knowledgeable about. And you have to, I'm not saying that you have to have all of this knowledge on day one, because no agent really does, but you have to understand what's coming down the road for you and be willing to dive in and learn these things. I think every real estate agent that you talk to will understand what I'm going to say next, and that you study for a test. I did mine online. Some people go to classes. It doesn't matter. But once you take that test, you study for the test. You take the test. You pass the test. Yay! Now you're a real estate agent. Okay, what you are not automatically is now an expert on loans, inspections, title work, negotiations. So you get out of class, and your job, you're really just beginning what the things that you're going to be expected to know. You're going to go on your first appointment, and they're going to ask you about some of those topics that we talked about. And you're going to be like a deer in the headlights, and if you have a good mentor along with you, then you're obviously going to work through those issues and learn those things. But you really need to understand that that's a big part of your job, is to understand, how to read an inspection report, how to talk to, a lot of it is how to talk to someone about an inspection report, because inspection reports can be scary, and, buyers can get scared real fast, and you really need to be able to break that down and keep things, presented in a way that everyone is not necessarily automatically freaking out, but understanding their options and, really understanding the inspection notice and what that part of the contract is all about. Understanding, title work and, what it means whenever there are issues with the title, and, would also like to state that I'm not going to say that every agent is an absolute expert. Obviously we have title companies, and we have inspectors, and we have loan officers that handle these things, but you are going to be talking to your client about these issues. So you need to have a good working, basic groundwork of how these issues work and how they affect your client, so that you can be, an intricate part of these discussions and really understand the process. And those are things that take time. I'm in a rural area again where, septics are a big part of our job out here, because a lot of people have septics, and that's only, in rural areas. So, I can tell you, I have a septic system, and I have 5 acres in the country. Not one time had I ever asked my husband anything about the septic system until I knew that he kind of took care of that and that it was working. That was the extent of my knowledge. I now could do a whole course on septic systems, because I have learned in the years that I have been doing this more than I ever wanted to know about septic systems. So I'm just kind of warning you that, these are the things. Don't get caught up in the pretty of it. Understand that what you're getting into is a job that really changes people's lives. It's an important part of people's lives, and you've really got to be willing to dive into the real estate business and be able to learn all the aspects of the real estate. So think about that a little bit. As far as flexible hours, do you get to make your own schedule? In a perfect world, absolutely. But we don't live in a perfect world. So, yes, you can say no at times, but, I'm going to put a couple scenarios maybe just into play for you to think about. Yes, you get to make your own schedule, but, maybe it's 6 o'clock and you're making dinner and you get a call from a client, especially when the market was hot, that says, hey, a house just went on the market. It's probably going to go into multiple offers. Can we go in a couple of hours and look at that house, because I want to be the first one to get there? And maybe you've been working with these people for 3 months. So a big part of you may want to say, no, I'd really like to have dinner with my family and enjoy my evening. But as an agent, you've got to be thinking, this is what my client really needs. And this is, if it's doable. There are obviously times it's just not doable and you will have to say no. But you may have to leave your family dinner and your children, or, whatever your situation may be, and go show that house and write that contract, and now 3 hours of your night is gone because that's what your client needed. So remember that you're not working for yourself, you are working for your clients, and your clients' needs are going to have to come first within reason. You've got to keep a balance, obviously, but there are definitely times that you're going to be showing houses and writing contracts that may not be convenient times for you, and that comes into play, and you and your family really needs to be on board with that before you decide to be a real estate agent, I believe. The downside is, now that the market is changing, you also have to understand that, steady paychecks are really just not going to happen for you, and you've got to really learn to budget your money and think about that, because there is no guarantee. Every time you walk out of the closing table and you've done a deal, there's no guarantee when the next deals are going to be coming down the line. So you really have to be mindful of, the pay structure and how that really works. But on the positive side, and I know I'm making this video too long and I need to get off of here. I do want to encourage people to get into the business. I obviously love it. And I would say the pros is, when you're sitting at the closing table, there is nothing more fulfilling in life than looking across and seeing the people at the table with you, dreams come true. Or in some cases, maybe getting out of a bad situation where they really needed to sell a house and move on to their lives. But you have helped them through a part of their lives and been a part of a very, a very big thing for them. So I think that's extremely fulfilling. As far as a daily routine, I personally am not one for daily routines. I'm not a 9 to 5, be able to, be real structured. It's not who I am. And I think most real estate agents have that personality. So for me, I love the fact that every day is a new day. I may lose a contract today and have a mutual release, and that's a really bad day for a real estate agent. But tomorrow I may write 2 more contracts. So you go to bed every night thinking tomorrow's a new day and something very new could happen, and your schedule's going to change. You're going to be doing different things every day. So to me, that's extremely appealing. So if those things appeal to you, then you might have found your calling. And if you do, I just want to say good luck to you. And, please continue to watch my videos. Please put some comments out there. Let me know how things are going for you. If you can find the time, and I would appreciate it, to like me on Facebook or Instagram, I would really appreciate that. So thanks again for tuning in to Shelley Makes It Happen.